with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, 5-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and co-founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Tonight we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Traycee Gales. A little bit about her. Minister Traycee Gales is a celebrity, faith, and entertainment journalist who is the creator and executive producer of Gospel Access. She specializes in gleaning success strategies from those at the top of their game in various fields in order to help people determine their life's purpose. Her interviewing skills have helped her land interviews with Academy Award nominees, Grammy Award winners, local pastors, and successful business owners who are all open up to her in order to share empowering advice to help others step up into their greatness. Welcome to the table, the amazing Minister Traycee Gales.
Oh, my goodness. What an introduction. Thank you, Ashley.
You are welcome. I am humbled to have you at the table tonight. I know you're going to share some amazing wisdom and knowledge with my listeners, so we cannot wait to hear from you.
Yes, I'm so excited to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me. I count it an honor, and folks don't have to ask you to do anything, so I thank you so much.
You are welcome. So, Minister Traycee, tell us more about your amazing entrepreneur journey.
Well, Ashley, I've always been fascinated with how people became who they are. And I can remember really at a young age, while all the other girls my age were reading romance novels and all that, here I was in the corner reading about Ray Kroc. And Ray Kroc is the guy who came up with McDonald's. And I'm reading autobiographies of Sam Walton, who, of course, discovered Walmart. So I've always had a desire I'm just fascinated about people's story, So from that passion came Gospel Access, which is an outlet that pretty much puts on display how God blesses people and how people who are successful have made it. So that's the backstory.
I love it. So, Minister Traycee, you specialize in gleaning success strategies from those at the top of their game in various fields in order to help people determine their life's purpose. So please tell us more about that.
Well, what I do is God has opened so many doors, Ashley, for me to be on different red carpets. And I've just talked to people who are, give you an example, talked to Anthony Anderson, who is the star of Blackish. I've talked to him and different ones like that, and they have just shared the good, the bad, the ugly as far as their journey in being successful. So I just get them to kind of open up to me and just tell me, how did you do it? What did you do when you felt like throwing in the towel? Things like that. So it's just been a blessing.
That's amazing. That's amazing to have those opportunities. And I just want to commend you for creating that space, for other, aspiring entertainment journalists who would like to be in the position that you're in today. So thank you.
You are welcome. And people really need to hear, authentic conversations where people are just sharing their story, and they're talking about how they've overcome adversity and what they encountered on their journey to greatness.
Yes, they do, right? Because you never know whose life is going to change, whose life is going to inspire. So I just want to thank you for being able to create that content and be able to provide those people for us to hear and learn more about. So thank you.
You are welcome. I hope people really get a lot out of the content because people are just sharing, like I talked to Tamala Mann not that long ago, and she said something just so profound. she was saying, you know, when you get to the place when you feel that you're in a valley experience, just know that there's joy in the valley, there's wisdom in the valley. You're not going to die in your valley experience. It's just so much meaty discussions that we have.
Yes, and that's so important, right? Understanding to embrace the process. And I know you spoke a lot about that at this conference I was at, Miss CEO by Jessica Mosley, a couple of weeks ago, and you spoke about embracing the process and how the process is part of the getting to the next level. So can you talk more about that?
Well, you know, one thing about the process is we all go through a process in us becoming and expressing a greater expression of ourselves. And in the process, we encounter all kinds of stuff. Closed doors, people hating on you. You are going to encounter so much in the process that it may seem like it's killing you. But guess what the process is? The process is going to break you, and it's going to make you. The process is going to break things from your life that you don't need, that you're not going to need, because it's not going to help where you're ultimately going. You're going to be broken from unproductive habits, broken from relationships that aren't edifying, broken from a broke mentality. The process is going to break you, and the process is also going to make you. It's going to make you more confident. It's going to make you more wise. So the process is the process. We just have to outlast the old us to get to the new us.
Yes, it will break you and make you. I love that for our listeners that are listening in. That is so important to know. So, Minister Traycee, what are some strategies you would give to listeners who are still trying to figure out their purpose? For those listeners that are, you know, they're trying to figure out, what am I on this earth to do?
Well, you know, that is really my desire, is to help people. I hate to see people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. It's like, why am I here? No. The first thing, you got to go back to who manufactured you. You got to pray. It's like, I just purchased not too long ago a new SUV, Ashley, and all these bells and whistles on these new vehicles. I had to get out the owner's manual to see what the stuff is about. So to figure out your purpose, you got to go back to the manufacturer. You got to go back to God. You got to pray, first of all, and ask God, you love me so much that you created my eyes, my ears, my hair, my skin melanin, all this stuff, and I know you put me here for a reason. So you got to go back to the manufacturer of you, which is God, and ask him first, Ashley, why am I here? What is my purpose?
Yes, what is my purpose? Asking him that, right? Because that's so important, because I think, you know, like you spoke about this too, you can get into looking at what everybody else is doing, but you have to follow your journey, right? And know what you're destined to do, because we're all different. And I think sometimes people can get into the comparison game. So can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, when we compare ourselves to other people, it's not a wise thing. And I don't know how young or how old your listeners are, Ashley, but if you know Al Green, you remember Al Green? He's still alive, still singing, the singer. I remember listening to an interview with Al Green, and he said that when he first got discovered, they brought him into the studio, and they were like, man, sing. And he said that he tried to sing not like himself, but he tried to sing like one of the other singers that was popular back in the 50s and 60s. And the guy just kept cutting him off in the studio. He was like, no, man, I heard you down at the club singing. I want you to sing like Al Green. People need to hear Al Green. It's like, it's tempting to see other people. It may be shinier. Their gift may be more brilliant than you think yours is, but you can't compare yourself with others, and you cannot be like somebody else, like Al Green tried to be. But thank God he had somebody in his life that said, no, man, we need to hear you singing, not you singing like somebody else.
Right. And that's so important, right? That we know that we are different, right? And to embrace those differences and embrace our journey. So, Minister Traycee, what is some advice you would give to the listeners that are looking to, there might be entertainment, there might be in a journalism field or aspiring journalists, and they aspire to reach the success that you have already accomplished in the industry. So they're trying to, get to where you're at. What would you give to those listeners that are trying to get in the field or are already in the field or still working to get to that level?
I'd say the advice is keep grinding. Keep grinding, keep working at your craft, and even if the days seem dark and gloomy, just know that there's something for you on the other side. So don't quit, don't give up, keep grinding, and really find out what makes you stand out, what makes you different as a journalist. I'm on a lot of red carpets, and I hear the questioning of other people that are, like, on the carpet with me, and a lot of stuff is very shallow, but what gets people's attention is when you do your homework, when you do your research on the person, and you maybe ask them a question that came out of left field. It's like, wow, this young lady or this young man really did their homework on me. They're not just asking these superficial, shallow questions. Everybody's asking the same thing. What are you working on next? And who are you dating? Forget all that. Ask something that is going to dig deep and make them really pull something out so that your viewers can really take something away from the interview that they can chew on. So I would say keep grinding and work on some things that make you different and really study your craft.
I love that. Study your craft and work on things that make you different. And I know I was blessed to be able to interview your mentor last night, Minister Traycee, and she was amazing. And I wanted to talk to you more about, mentorship as well, because I'm sure you have mentors, plenty of mentors and business coaches, and to talk to our listeners about the importance of having mentors and business coaches on your journey, because we know that we cannot do this by ourselves. And for those people who think they can, they're not going to get us so far. So can we talk more about that?
We definitely need mentors. I was just reading the other day where this young lady said that she wanted to golf. She always wanted to golf. So she bought the shoes, she bought the irons, she bought the balls, she bought the cute little outfit, the tee, whatever it was. But she bought all the stuff, but she never got a coach to teach her the daggone game. So there are so many people out here that have the trappings or whatever it is, but they don't have somebody in their life to teach them what's coming down the pike. What can you expect? No, baby, you ain't doing it right. You need to do it like this. So we need mentors. We need mentors to help us to get to the next level. And you don't have to, let me put it this way, you don't have to have a mentor that you can touch. We've got YouTube. We've got so many things going on. I think there's a company now called Masterclass that's out. I was just looking at. You can be mentored by somebody that doesn't even know you. How about that?
Yes, and it's so important, right? Having that and being able to seek that out and understanding that you want to make sure that you're seeking out to people who are where you want to be. Because I know sometimes people seek out to different people, but if you're not reaching out to the right people that can open those doors and they're not where you want to be, then you could miss your destiny. So I just want listeners to understand that when we're trying to seek out our mentors and who we should let coach us, because that's so important, right? Because like we know everybody has a coaching program now, right? So you just want to make sure that you're at the right table.
You're absolutely right. I was talking to a young man. He was just a teenager and an aspiring rapper, and he was like, you know what? I met this guy, and he says he's going to make my raps the number one raps, and I'm going to be number one. And I said, well, honey, what artist has he worked with now that's got a number one rap song out? What artist has he? So a lot of times people will tell you what they can do, but you got to see the receipts. You got to see, has this person that I'm looking to mentor me, are they really qualified to do it?
right. The receipts, right? The results and the receipts. That's so important.
I need to see some receipts.
So, Minister Traycee, you are the creator and executive producer of Gospel Access. So please tell us more about Gospel Access and how we can support and get involved.
Oh, my goodness. The whole mission of Gospel Access really, Ashley, is to help folks pursue their purpose and help folks get excited about what God has given them. We want to help people get excited about their own God-given gifts, their own God-given goals and dreams and potential. So we just want to just really encourage people, embolden folks to step up and into their own greatness. So what I've done is I've interviewed people who are what I call the ultra successful, and they're sharing the good, the bad, the ugly about how they made it. And we really want people to listen to the interviews and get some inspiring insights, all in an attempt to help them get excited about what they're doing and what they have, and just step on out there and just go get it.
I love that. So how can they get in, where can they go, what's the internet there, the website they can go and, get involved with Gospel Access?
Go to the website if you want to hear some of your favorite singers, some of your favorite artists, gospelaccess.org. Gospelaccess.org, and you'll see a whole list of people that I've interviewed, and the majority of the interviews are there. And I'm always dropping like once a week an interview, a short, just short, maybe a 5 to 10 minute sit down interview with someone. So you can go on gospelaccess.org, or you can go on Facebook. Gospel Access is the name, or you can go to Instagram, Gospel Access TV.
So please connect with her on Gospel Access. Like I said, Minister Traycee is doing some amazing things. So let's talk about your new book, Ain't No Plan B. I was at Minister Traycee's book signing a couple of weeks ago, and it was amazing. The conference was amazing. She was a speaker.
Thinking. Stinking Thinking was the name of my chapter, and it just basically talks about how I pretty much almost hijacked my own life because of the negative thoughts that I had about myself. So, I went to college with the idea I was going to be this fabulous journalist, and then during my second year at the university, I began to have limiting beliefs and thoughts about myself. I would think, can I really do this? What if I fail? What makes me think I'd be good enough to be on TV? Who am I kidding? I'll never be successful at this. All of the stuff going through my head almost had me not fulfilling my own destiny. So that's the name of my chapter.
And see, as our listeners are listening, can you talk more about, Mr. Traycee, what were the steps you took to overcome that negative mindset, to change your whole way of thinking, to manifest the things that you have now?
Well, it really started with me realizing that my limiting beliefs were holding me back from, my lifelong dream. And then I realized, after really taking a deep look at myself, I realized that my limiting beliefs were keeping me in mediocre jobs, mediocre relationships. I was just living a doggone mediocre life, Ashley. That's when it really started to change for me. I was like, hey, you know what? You're not doing nothing you said you were going to do with your life. You're living a mediocre life. You're not even happy in your job or anything like that. And I really just began to pray, and I said, God, help me to see myself like you see me. And once I got the revelation that I'm wonderfully made and loved by God, my thoughts about myself and my perception of my true identity shifted. So I got a personal breakthrough. And, I awakened to the truth of my own individual power, actually.
I love that. I love how you took control over it, because that's what people have to realize. We can change our situation, right? It's all about our mindset and what we do to turn that around, to manifest the things that we need to have and we want in our lives. So, Minister Traycee, your interview skills have helped you land interviews with Academy Award nominees, Grammy Award winners, local park pastors, and business owners. So please tell listeners more about how you were able to reach these amazing accomplishments.
Well, it's funny because after I realized I was living a mediocre life, after I started to get my head together, my confidence started to really take off. But there was a problem. I didn't have one single position within the journalism field, and my resume was totally empty regarding journalism jobs. So nobody was going to hire me. So I had to kind of create what I wanted to do myself. And that is the exact time that God caused my path to cross with Dr. Reynolds, who you interviewed last night. And I tell you, Ashley, what's that saying? You take one step, God will take two, whatever.
Yes.
It's like once I had my head together, I met Dr. Reynolds. Dr. Reynolds is in her 70s. And she's like, you know what? I have a red carpet interview with Angela Bassett, and I don't want to do this no more. I'm not interested in doing that. Do you want to do it? I'm like, do I want to do it? Do I want to do it? I had never done it before in my life, Ashley. So my very first time coming out the blocks, got my head together, know where I'm going now, was with Angela Bassett. It was Angela Bassett and Danny Glover. Those are my first interviews. First.
That is amazing.
And then like 2 weeks later, I was at an event. Dr. Reynolds hooked me up, opened the door. I got a chance to interview Terrence Howard. I got a chance to interview Vivica Fox, Gabrielle Union. And then shortly after that, I interviewed Morris Chestnut and Omari Hardwick from Power. So it's like, all I can say is once you decide, God, ain't no plan B. I'm going to do what you called me to do. He will put people in your path that will open the door for you to get the job done.
Yes, he will. He will send people to help you. And like you said, once you got your mind right and you started following your purpose, she magically appeared. And the funny thing, Minister Traycee, and I know she spoke about it last night, and she also told us this at the conference, that she asked to be your mentor.
And the funny thing, Ashley, was I didn't really realize the totality of who she was at the time. You know how it is when you go to church with people, when you see them all the time, it's like, okay, well, that's Dr. Reynolds, just some lady that started USA Today. Okay, Then we wound up at a women's retreat. And we wound up sitting next to each other. When you're in close quarters like that, you introduce yourself. She's like, I've seen you in church. I've seen you in church. And then, like, the end of the weekend, she says, can I be your mentor? And me still not realizing the weight of it, I said, oh, sure, ma'am, sure. Yeah, sure you can.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. I didn't know she was going to be the one that God would use to actually put me on,
Yes, and it's just, like you said, you took those steps and she just magically appeared. And, you don't normally hear that, a lot in today's time where somebody comes up and asks to be your mentor, right? Normally you go seek out and try to initiate conversation with somebody, for somebody to be your mentor. But to hear that she came and asked you, that's how we know those divine connections, right? I just love it. I love it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So
I just want to say, I do want to say this, to the people who are listening. If by chance you struggle with self-doubt, or you are a victim of your own thinking like I was, just know that you can beat it and you can live the life of your dreams. You can beat it, but it's a fight. It's going to be a fight.
And it's part, we have to embrace that, right? We have to embrace the fight, and I think a lot of people sometimes get discouraged in the fight, and that's where we should be learning, right?
Exactly.
So, Minister Traycee, you have built multiple tables, but I ask all of my guests this question: how did you create your seat at the table?
Well, I think it goes to thinking about what sets you apart from everyone else, and being authentically who you are, and not being afraid to step up and do it. I think what works for me with Gospel Access, to be honest, is there are no other ministers that I know of that are interviewing the people that I'm interviewing. So when I'm on the red carpet, I'm the only one that's actually has a clergy collar on. And sometimes I'll be honest, I feel out of place. But it's like I'm the only one with the minister's collar on a red carpet. But you'd be surprised the people that will come to me and ask for prayer, or it's just wild. So to create your seat at the table is, knowing what God has called you to do and looking to see, how can I be authentically myself, and that in itself will give you a seat at the table.
Yes, being authentic. That is so key. That's so key.
Yeah.
So key.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I know you spoke about your journey a lot throughout the interview tonight, but failure is part of the process. So what did failure teach you on your journey, Minister Traycee?
Failure is just another opportunity to see what don't work.
I like that.
That's it. That's all failure is. It's just something that's popped up where you can say, oh, well, that doesn't work. But where we get bogged down is when we put the failure on us. It's like, oh, I'm a failure. No, boo. What you tried did not work. And this failure sign, this neon flashing failure sign, is just a sign to show you don't do that. Don't go that way. Don't try that because it didn't work. Just like with Edison, who invented the light bulb, they said he tried a whole bunch of times, and each time he failed, it's like, okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, well, that didn't work. But you just keep going until you get to what does work. So failure, you have to have failure on the way to success.
Yes, you have to. You can't skip it. You have to. So what did success teach you? Because you're very successful.
What did it say that again?
What did success teach you? Because you are very successful. So what did success teach you?
I think that what success has taught me thus far is that if God had not opened any doors, I wouldn't be successful. And another thing that success has taught me is actually how important humility is. How important humility is, because humility is important. We are what we are because of God's grace. So that is what success has taught me, is how important humility actually is.
And staying humble is key, right? It's definitely staying humble in the process. Once you get the wins, once you get the things that you prayed for our listeners that are listening. So thank you for sharing that, because I think we have to remember when we get to a certain level where we came from, to not ever forget that. So thank you for sharing that.
And really, to be humble doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. Being humble does not mean that you think less of yourself. Being humble simply means that you're thinking of yourself less. You're not thinking less of yourself, but you're thinking of yourself less. You're thinking less of yourself. It's like, how can I be a blessing to other people? How can I help? How can I reach back and help somebody else who's trying to figure this thing out?
Yes, that's so key, right? So that's when you're truly successful. That's why I say all the time that a true successful person is one who reaches back and pulls forward. And Minister Traycee, I just want to say that I consistently follow you, and you're doing some amazing things. You consistently do that, and I enjoyed listening to you speak at the conference, about embracing the process, about reaching back and pulling forward, about, making ways for other people to get to the next level when you get to, as you continue to grow in what you do. So I want to commend you for that amazing speech that you gave us, that amazing, words that you shared with us to continue to speak life into all of us in our businesses. So thank you.
You are welcome, Miss Ashley. I'm just humbled to have been asked to do anything at the conference, to be honest with you.
Yes. So what can we expect from you the rest of 2019? We are in the fourth quarter, and I know you're going to finish strong.
We got 2 months left. November the 1st is Friday. Can you believe it? Friday.
I know.
So,
right.
I just want to encourage folks just to just boss up and do what you're supposed to be doing. Rewind back. What did you tell yourself you were going to do January 1st? What did you say to yourself back in January? And if you have not done it, or if you've been kind of like lax about it, you got 2 months to get the job done. Because in 2 more months, we're going to be going into 2020, another decade. How about that? This is the end of a decade.
Another decade.
Decade.
And that's what we got to remember. It's a whole nother decade. Not just another year, a whole nother decade.
Exactly. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
And so many people have passed this year and in 2018, and they're not alive to see the beginning of a new decade. So I think that we need to be more mindful of the passing of time. You know what I'm saying? It's like we shouldn't be arrogant and assume that we're going to have all this time to get done whatever it is in our heart to do, because we don't know. You know what I'm saying? So It's like I just wish everybody just would just think about having more of a sense of urgency about your life. Don't put stuff off anymore.
Yes, just do it. Take those risks and jump out there. I love it. So please tell our listeners, Minister Traycee, how they can follow you and connect with you on all social media platforms.
Sure can. The website is gospelaccess.org. Instagram is Gospel Access TV. Facebook is simply Gospel Access.
So please follow and support Minister Traycee Gales. She's amazing. Definitely somebody to know, somebody to connect with. So, Minister Traycee, I want to thank you again for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to come to the table. This has been a very powerful interview, and I cannot wait to invite you back.
Well, Ashley, I am so excited. Can't wait to see you again, and thanks for having me.
You are welcome, and I look forward to continuing to work and collaborating with you in the future.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you. So I would like to give a special thanks to Tammy Collins Marquis and John Schamberger. I would also like to give a special thanks to author Kimberly McLemore and my intern Sarah from Tennessee State University and my intern Vontaria from Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.